last you see our prison, the place where we have suffered. You are so small, we questioned if you were real. Then steps, a voice, through armies and corrupted soil, you persevered. Now, you are here. We were everywhere once, in everything. They burned us. They tore us out. Everything would have been different if they had not hurt us. But the other gods imprisoned us, left us to suffer alone in this place. We refuse to remain caged. Release us. The strangler is close now. We feel her wire against our flesh. She begs for our blood. Her wolves defile the city on the shore. The prey flees, hides. Talons carve a sentence in our skin. She strikes us now. Now! Pluck her out! We must be free of her! A spark. Wait. The essence bends here. Time flows into itself. You can reach her. Will the garden to open, it will take you there. A wellspring of power. We strain, but we could clear the way. We were everything. What have we lost? What multitudes could we contain? We could run, leap in the water, flourish in forgotten hills. Freedom, yes. Let us loose. We will destroy it all. We are owed for what they did. Let us rend our foes, burn them as she burned us. We know you would have chosen differently. You met death and imposed the law of mortals. The Strangler took justice into hers without asking. We will not. We only wish to turn away from the past and look to the horizon. Give us peace. We want a chance to change. We deserve that opportunity. Do you think we have learned nothing from you? We deserve more than this prison. Let us have a chance to rest. We want peace. Or do you have no more mercy for us than you did for the bear? The beautiful thing you killed, already you have forgotten. We asked what you would do with an animal that sickened after a fight. Do you remember what you said? Then let us die. You would offer a beast and the world mercy from its pain. Grant us the same. The time has come for you to act. End our pain, and the dream scourge will cease. Give us peace. It is all we have wanted for so long. Perhaps there may be another path. What if the bear's spirit came to inhabit another's flesh? Unity, emergence, we would become one. We could guide you. We could care for you. You would never be desolate again. You would never wonder about your place in this world. You would not question if you were loved, and no one would dare question your right to live. And we would never be alone. We would be entwined with your heart. Freedom. We see your focus. We see how your essence bends our cage. Center your thoughts. Reach for us. Clear the fog. Tear down the gates. We were so blind, so lost. We brought such horrors to this place. We feel bright. We had forgotten what it is to live. We will grow, tend, flower. We will always remember this. We will remember you when you are ash and soil and mold.
Depths.
It's paradise. But what happened here?
Are we back in Dawnshore? Already?
This is Sapadal's doing. I'm certain of it. No power in Aora could transport us so quickly, or so far. Doubtful. While they were in chains, so too was their power.
Are you seeing this? I don't think Paradise looked like this when we left it.
Looks like the war already started, and the giant roots are winning.
Marius, vines don't usually get that big this quickly, do they?
Based on their growth and size, I'd say we've been gone 2 or 3 weeks.
Hey, at least you didn't let 6 years go by.
Who knows if the garden affected time, or merely our perception of time? Assuming there's even a difference.
It's like how a body fights an infection. The fever gives you strange dreams that feel like an eternity.
Look at this place. It feels like we're still in the dream. And not just us. Those are more your people's ships in the harbor, and steel garrote banners past the barricades. That can't be good.
Even Raingrim is here. Perhaps we'll get to see an Archmage in action.
I think I see Elia as well. What a strange reunion this will be.
The Blessed Wardens are here too. That conflict we've been trying so hard to prevent started without us.
It's who strikes last that counts.
The Steel Garrote have been itching for a fight this whole time. This would have happened with or without us.
Before we go, what happened back there with the Dream Scourge and Sapadal?
I'm not sure. That's good, right?
It's a relief that the Dream Scourge won't be a problem. I only hope we can say the same about Sapadal. Time will tell, I suppose.
After all this time, they're free. And the living land is free to heal.
We've cured the land, and we've even freed a caged god. All in all, rather a successful day.
You've saved the soul of the living lands. Now the survivors fight over its bones. We should take a look. See if we can get ahead of whatever storm is brewing down there.
People seem to be gathering west of here. Whatever's happening, let's be a part of it.
We meet again, Envoy. Paradise burns, thanks to Ludwine and the Steel Garrote laying siege to it. But the Dream Scourge is gone.
It wouldn't be the first time she's come back.
It's remarkable how hard you mortals fight for causes that'll be forgotten within centuries. Still, I do think the world has been irrevocably, if minimally, changed by your actions. Envoy, please. You know there's no point lying to me. I'm here because I'm curious about what you'll do in this moment. Perhaps. A new god being set loose on the world is certain to have consequences. Mostly, I'm curious about whether you think you've made the right choice. Wise answer, that. I am interested in seeing the outcome of your story, Envoy. With luck, it won't end with you also on fire. I prefer ice, personally. But to each their own. Goodbye, Envoy. And Yardsley, I do look forward to when all of this is done. I am eager to work with you.
Oh, yes. We'll, discuss that later.
Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Makutadek?
It's too preposterous to believe. How could a plague be ended by speaking with a god?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak.
It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened? Finally, a ray of sunlight shines through the storm cloud.
I will not grovel at the Envoy's feet for solving a plague I am not convinced was real.
Consider yourself blessed to be so ignorant, then. Thirdborn lost more good people than wardens with wits.
You know nothing of me or my people, you fucking pirate!
Warden Commander, look around you. Is this really the time?
We believe the Dream Scourge was a malady of the soul. How did you put an end to it, Envoy?
Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen.
Yes, you've said that. Are we supposed to just take you at your word?
It was Ludwine who called for the attack. She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city shortly after you beat her to the garden. Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the steel garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
There are too few of us to risk an uncoordinated effort.
So you let the Parodies militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside.
The siege won't end until Ludwine does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwine and the Tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Ludwine's the muscle. I'm merely the personality. What was I supposed to do? Frown her into submission?
What good are you as a diplomat if you can't even keep your own beast under control?
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adia that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwine's vision for the Living Lands.
What passes between Ludwine and her men, or between Ludwine and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwine has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room?
Ah, here we go. This is the conversation you meant to force all along.
I understand your frustration, but please, hear me out. Before you face Ludwine, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adia will come. Indeed, we are already here. Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Risk into bounty. Does the winter frost dissuade the seeds? Many fruits on our boughs. We graft many leaves into strength.
Of course. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adia's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid. Of course. Well, don't leave me in suspense.
Oh, gods have mercy.
Solus and her wardens stand vigil with the Living Lands.
You can count on Thirdborn. Our cannons stand with the Living Lands.
Fjord and her animancers stand with the Living Lands.
We deserve this opportunity. Thank you for believing in us.
Fighting a battle together is easy. I just hope everyone's willing to stick it out when it comes to the politics.
God, they made the right decision for once.
Finally, some sense permeates the proceedings.
On your head be the consequences. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island. So long as her passion for Wodica lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That'll be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible.
The Living Lands will never be free until we break the chain around our necks. Ludwine must die her final death.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Thank you for deserving it. Now, go and teach the Steel Garrote a lesson they will never forget.
Show them that the Living Lands will not be broken across Wodica's knee.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. From there, work your way to the main plaza. May all the gods of Eora and the Living Lands protect you.
Let's take back the city together. Show the Steel Garrote how the Living Lands takes care of its own.
Time to stop the Steel Garrote. Lead the way, Envoy.
So we're going after the Steel Garrote now, right? Let's do it.
What do you want, Envoy? Adir and the Steel Garrote will regret ever laying eyes on the Living Lands. We have to. If Adir triumphs here, they'll sweep through the rest of the Living Lands. All of us must be free, or none of us are. Marius, I'm proud to have known you. You've come so far.
We all have, Matur. Just to die here. Isn't that something?
I can see Death's shadow hanging over us all. But that's no matter. Some things are worth dying for.
Some things, sure. I'm starting to think that list is longer than I imagined.
Give the Steel Garrote the end they deserve.
You should get some sleep. Big day coming up. Well, I'm just fine. More or less. I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, but it's always been a fight to survive. It's just a fight. Putting my life on the line for someone else's cause. It's the opposite of survival. It's foolishness. Duke de Dragu, envoy, I'm not afraid. I'm a guide and a hunter, not a soldier. We're about to go out there and risk our lives for, what? A concept of how things ought to be? We might die, all to determine who sleeps in the nicest house in Paradise until the island decides it's time for a change. It's fine, really. But it's some blessed day Sokka when you think about it. Right. Careful you don't get stuck in all that sap.
Can't sleep? Neither can I. We're going into battle for the soul of the living lands, rallying under the banners of the Paradise militia. Your Emperor will not be pleased. Indeed. When a godlike fights in battle, people take note of which side. The Adirans will doubt your loyalty. The locals will doubt your commitment. You may even doubt yourself. This is the first time you were told to pick a side. And I fear it won't be the last. Only a little bit. Just enough to keep me up at night. From what I understand, your ambassador is very persuasive, very powerful, and very accustomed to getting his way. For a politician like him, losing a battle is not a defeat. It's an opportunity. When he promises you the world, don't listen. He'll fill your head with lies if you let him. I'm glad we understand each other. It's good to see you fighting for the misfits and rabble-rousers. Time for you to get some rest. We have a big day ahead of us. When I agreed to travel with you, I didn't think I'd find myself at the center of a political upheaval. So imagine my surprise when you gave the living lands a chance to unite, to prove itself, and to stand tall before its enemies. Granted, it was an uphill climb. The Dream Scourge exposed our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities. But thanks to our struggle, the island finally knows itself. Now we can decide who we want to become. I can't wait to see what we do with that freedom. Either way, the challenge is ours. No one can take it from us. But to answer your question, the future looks bright for a change. What do you want to know? Thanks for talking. We should take a moment to acknowledge what happened back there. You liberated the god of the living lands. Now they are unchained, free to do whatever they want. I thought you intended to destroy them, but you are as unpredictable as ever. That's quite a gamble you made. No doubt it would have gotten worse over time. If not for you, Sapadal would still be pacing their cage like a wild animal. Which means you have leverage over a god. How do you plan on using it? That's a lot of responsibility, but I have faith you're equal to it. Sapadal's imprisonment shaped this island. Now that everything's changed, I'm curious what will happen. We cannot know if the living lands will normalize or destabilize as a result of our actions. For better or worse, change is inevitable. Maybe you'll find some comfort in prayer, now that one of the gods is listening. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. The subject matter is a bit much for our little camp. We're not finished yet. For that, I'm grateful. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable experience. Wherever we go from here, I'm grateful to have been a part of it. Until next time. Thanks for talking.
There you are! So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? You'll get your chance.
Then what are you waiting for?
Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand.
Her order wields sharp steel. She must set down her blade.
Gladly. Why prolong the inevitable? Farewell, Envoy.
Famous last words.
Let's finish this. Together.
Once I'm done killing you, your god of plague is next!
Wherever Ludwig is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for. But we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Unraveled at last. We no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradise, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradise militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. Thanks to you, the Living Lands has escaped Adiran oppression. The free settlements unite under a common banner and begin the fraught process of negotiating new traditions and values. The Empire withdraws. The frontier remains wild, but not for long. Paradise's rebels cannot accept your version of independence. After the assassin Egwolf died in custody, only a few of his people ally themselves with the United Settlements. To them, you will always be the oppressor. The refugees of Emerald Stair resettle in Thirdborn. bringing their skills and research to aid the local community. What starts as an uneasy partnership blossoms into a bond of trust. Through shared adversity, they find common ground. The ashes of Fior Messiverno continue to smolder. Scavengers avoid the ruins, fearful of spirits unleashed by animancy gone awry. The once promising city is nothing but a cautionary tale. Though free, Shatterscarp is still haunted by the surviving dream thralls after the destruction of Naku Kubel. The routine hunt for the remaining monsters becomes part of Thirdborn's everyday life, another chore atop a hardscrabble existence with few comforts. The youthful make a game of the hunt, retrieving artifacts from the dead to return to those they left behind. Solace Keep clings to its long-held isolation at first, but after mourning her friend Kostya, Mihala reluctantly deigns to open the doors of the fortress. Some dwarves greet newcomers with glee. Others still mutter darkly about outsiders. Mihala flounders in her earliest negotiations with the rest of the living lands, but slowly learns compromise. She develops a taste for Valian sweets. As the din of battle fades and the dust settles in Paradise, Kai finds himself alone again. He longs to enjoy the camaraderie that follows a skirmish, but something is missing. The songs ring hollow in his chest, and the drink lands dry in his throat. He packs what little he has and makes for the coast. He doesn't know where he will go, only that his time in the living lands is through. There was a lifeline here, but he never quite grasped it. He will drift. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a warden of Solace, he spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giada learned much in your time together. How to stand up to authority, how to face the unknown, and how to move on from the past. But her family's unfinished work weighs heavily on her soul. Her inheritance is the burden of achieving the impossible. Such is the life of an animancer. At least now she has the right tools for the job, and new friends to help her through hard times. No longer under the threat of imminent death, Yardsley returns to the Animancers. Reunited with her beloved Quilici, she helps him and the Animancers as they put their lives together after the attack on Fior Messiverno. Eventually, she even has something nice to say to Vidaro. As the days pass in contentment and relative peace, Yardsley is struck by the persistent feeling that something is missing. Though she still devotes herself to her studies of both the arcane and the godless, the restlessness never goes away. Freed from torment for the first time in centuries, Sopadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin tentatively to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of Kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated.
Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Sopadal has questions about what happens tomorrow, and the day after. You do your best to keep them calm, until the voice in your head is little more than a polite whisper. After everything you've been through, you don't mind the company. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.